Yali, I'm speaking to you from the Aga Khan Park, in front of the Aga Khan Museum, and behind me is the Ismaili Centre Toronto, and we are next to the Aga Khan Boulevard. I mean, I still do a double take every single time I hear that. You know, it's been a decade since Maulana Haji Imam and Prime Minister Stephen Harper inaugurated these remarkable institutions.
I hope you will join me in my profound happiness in recalling the cradle of friendship in which this centre has been born. And I know that all of you will also share my profound wish that the centre will now prolong, decade after decade, its beautiful legacy of friendship and enlightenment.
Now, those are some heartfelt words by Maulana Haji Imam talking about the enduring friendships and shared values that have brought us all together. As we reflect on the legacy of this site, it's important to understand how we got here. As you may or may not know, the Ismaili Centre Toronto is not the only Ismaili Centre in the country. In fact, the first Ismaili Centre in Canada was opened in 1985 in Vancouver. And it is beautiful, it is unique, it is, you know what, let's go on a little trip. Welcome to the Ismaili Centre Vancouver. You know, it's hard to believe that next year will be 40 years since Maulana Haji Imam and the late Prime Minister Brian Mulroney opened this stunning Jamakhana. And at that time, our community was relatively new to Canada and we were really unknown to many.
Until the Iranian Revolution, the term Shia was little known in the West. In the absence of better understanding, Shiism has since been shown exclusively as the faith of that revolution and its ramifications. Yet, in reality, there are far more Shia Muslims outside Iran than there are within that country, including the Ismaili community here in Canada. I feel it particularly important that the breadth and basic tolerance of our faith should be appreciated in areas where Muslims are minorities. If it is not, there is a great risk that pressure groups sheltering behind the facade of the faith, but whose real aims are perhaps more political or social or economic, will be wrongly taken as expressing its nature.
You know, the gardens here at the Ismaili Centre Vancouver are so stunning. It is so beautiful here. It is secluded, it is peaceful, it is tranquil, and it really is a hidden gem in the city. And by hidden, let me show you. Okay, this is what I mean by hidden. Like, take a look over there. Behind those greens and shrubs and all that stuff over there, that's where the oasis is. That's where the beautiful, tranquil Jamakhana gardens are. I mean, 40 years ago, how did they even find this sunken place without GPS? Whereas in Toronto, you don't need GPS. I mean, that is not sunken. This entire site is located next to the Don Valley Parkway, one of the busiest highways in the country. I'm so sorry. You know what? We're doing this piece on the 10th anniversary of this entire site, and I wanted to talk to somebody to get a little bit of insight, and I just picked a day that's kind of quiet. Oh my goodness, is that Chairman Saib?
Hey, Hussein, how are you?
Oh my God, good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Can we go for a quick walk and talk?
Fantastic.
Let's talk quickly about this center.
Yes.
So this is number 6.
Number 6.
Right? Number 6, and we have one in Houston coming up.
Yes.
And then there's a few more that are planned.
Yes.
So what is Haji Imam's vision for these centers? What is the mandate? What is he trying to accomplish? Because now it seems like they're like rolling out pretty quick, these centers, it feels like.
The word that comes to mind is ambassadorial. But let's step back first and think about the community. The impact of the centers, and you'll know this living in Toronto, after 30 years when it was built, after our settlement, 30 years later, we built the center. It anchors us as a community into the country. So that's number one. It's a symbol of anchoring us and giving us confidence. And the Jamaat in Canada is made up of people who have come from different parts of the world through crisis.
Right.
And so not only at the beginning, but even now as we see this incredible generosity of Canada to welcome people from all over the world, we have that too. And so this center gives them a sense of permanence and confidence and comfort that we're here to stay. So that's really critical. And I think in all these different countries that Hazrat Imam is setting the centers up, that's a critical piece, a place of anchoring, a place of comfort, a place of prayer, a place where people will come together, not only from the Jamaat, and this is really important, the Ismaili centers, for people from other communities to come and join us in engagement, civil society, building civil society together.
Okay, I want to take you back now. Take you back, I guess, like 10, 11, maybe 11 years, I think. So back then you were president, Sahib, of the Canadian Jamaat.
Yes.
And when you were here, when this was all opening, are there like many moments or anecdotes that you can share?
There's so many, because we were so fortunate that Maulana Hazrat Imam spent an inordinate amount of time in Canada. I think every 4 to 6 weeks he was back here.
Wow.
And imagine him coming back on a regular basis. Number one, it tells you how important these assets were to him, that he gets it right for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's really critical. And I'll talk about a couple of things which I thought were quite moving. But it also reminded me, because I came in at the tail end of the development, so I got kind of the lucky job, right? To see these.
It's all here.
Yeah, exactly. It's all here. It's done, and then we get to open them, and which was a lot of fun. But it really reminded me of the incredible sacrifice of all of the leaders of the Jamaat and the Jamaat itself from the beginning of our settlement, from President Zinat Virani onwards. And I can name every single one of them. Everyone had a special place in making an impact to get us to a point where we could have the confidence to do what we're doing. And what was absolutely mind-boggling, and it might not seem that way when I say it, but as we were experiencing it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the attention to detail by the Imam of the time, in terms of the construction and the output, was amazing. Not only did he give attention to detail of for example, the type of flatware we would use and the cutlery we would use and the glassware we would use, which was very important to him because it was important that he understands what's the experience of our user base. But I would say, even in the development of the prayer hall of the Ismaili Centre, Hazrat Imam just didn't come in and look at it. Hazrat Imam went in, he sat at every single area where he would see that the Jamaat would sit, and he wanted to ensure that the experience of the Jamaat was something that he would be comfortable with. And so the love and care and attention with which he developed these projects was exemplified every single time he came, because he was always worried about how will the Jamaat experience this as a young person,
right,
as well as an elderly person. And I hope that today, that the Jamaat would say, it's an incredible experience every time I come. It's an incredible experience wherever I am on the site.
Yeah, any time of day, early morning, evening, yeah, for sure. Wait, you are in a unique position, because I'm just thinking now, you're there, Hazrat Imam is being very specific and detail-oriented, and then when it's done, his vision is like, it's here, it's here, it's manifested, we're here.
Yeah.
What was that? Can you go back to that moment when Hazrat Imam was like, okay, check, it is finished?
Yeah, where you could see it in his face. He was beaming ear to ear, but you'll see his happiness comes through. You'll see how excited he was to take the Prime Minister of the day on a personal tour of the facility. And that tells you that he was not only proud, he was beaming with happiness, because I think he felt confident that what he was able to develop here would serve the Jamaat well today, but more importantly, well into the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so his vision in terms of the architectural marvel of this place absolutely is there on day one. We've got to ensure it maintains, but his vision will be unveiled over time in terms of what he really wants to see these centers as having the biggest impact that we possibly can.
So Maulana Hazrat Imam has invested heavily in Canada. There's like the Global Centre for Pluralism, there's like the delegation building, there's this entire site, there's the garden in Edmonton, Vancouver. What is his vision behind those centers, and also what can we do to help him with his vision?
So I think each of us has a responsibility as we think about the future to really internalize the vision of the Imam around the assets, to become ambassadors for themselves, to engage in them fully, and to live our lives in the fullest way possible within the ethics of Islam. Great seeing you. I'm so glad we bumped into each other.
This is like
Thank
a
you.
random encounter.
Thank you very much.
As always, what an informative and interesting chat with Chairman Talib. Also, what are the chances of him being here on site? President Saib, what are you doing here? Oh my goodness. Good to see you. Great to see you.
Long time
No kidding. Hey, listen, do you mind if we have a quick word?
Oh, sure.
Please come. Thank you very much. I'd love to ask you a few questions. That's very sweet. Also, this is crazy. Here, have a seat right here. Perfect. Okay. Now, you were president of the Council for all of Canada during the development phase, during the planning phase. When you look back at the 10 years, what do you think of Haji Imam's vision and how it's been executed from then until now?
God, it is a very interesting question. And the vision of the Imam is something that not all of us can understand. He's often told us that Imam thinks in generations.
Right.
So he has a very long-term plan, vision of this site. But this site started out, if I can take a minute to tell you a bit of a background. We had the museum site first. And where we are here now is Bata Building. In the meantime, Bata Building became available. They were trying to sell this.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we wrote to Hazman. I was chair of the Iman National. He said, I would like to come and see the site. So he came, he walked the site. He said, we should buy this property. And we can use it for much bigger purpose. At the same time, there was an issue with the Aga Khan Museum that was planned in UK, but the site was becoming challenging to get and so on. He decided that he would move the museum here. So that is the beginning of this site from a Jamaat Khana site alone to this much bigger site and therefore much more development. And Azimam kind of said, okay, we should put the museum here, we should put the Jamaat Khana here, and we should have a park, and we'll have a garden that will connect the two buildings. And he said, what is the highest point on this site? And this was the highest point. He said the Jamaat Khana should be at the highest point of the site.
Yeah, so we were in Vancouver moments ago, and it is like hidden, it is sunken.
Right.
Sunken, actually.
Yeah, because this was back in 1980s. But you have to go from the side, and as you enter, the Jamaat Khana opens up. So it's such a majestic site.
Mhm.
Here, Azimam said, let the people who are driving up and down.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why the change from, in 25 years, that's like a clear change from like sunken in a neighborhood behind trees and all of a sudden the highest point of the DVPs.
If I give you a very simple answer to that, there may be a much more complex thinking behind that. But as a Jamaat, we have evolved, we have developed. We are very much engaged in the day-to-day activities in the societies in which we live, other than just ourselves. This is involvement or engagement of the Jamaat with the society. And people are recognizing Imam's work also globally. He's being now recognized as a very prominent senior person, a religious leader who is so much involved in the human development, much beyond his own community. And as Imam has said, as a Muslim leader, it's his responsibility, as it is of any Muslim leader, to be concerned about the well-being of the people amongst whom you live. It is our responsibility. You can't separate. Din and dunya are intertwined. Right? So this is the big thing, that we don't separate that.
Yeah.
So it's our responsibility. And as a Jamaat over the past 30 years or 40 years at that time, we were engaged. So as Imam said, it's time that we become visible. Now, he didn't use the word visible, these are my words.
I understand.
He actually had asked us to have a focus group meetings with the youth in the Jamaat. And we did that. I think it was during the term of either Aziz Balu or Firoz Asol, did not using my term. Yeah, it's going back. Yeah. Because Hazim always had the desire to build an Ismaili Centre in Toronto, because this is the largest Jamaat here, the commercial capital of Canada, very large Muslim diaspora here. So here he wanted to make sure that we anchor ourselves properly. And he used the term that this place would have nature, which is the park, nature, art, and spirit all coming together. And I think there was a very powerful message that he gave to the people, that it's a combination of all this that we are trying to show here. We often met all three architects together. And I have to say, they're all very intense in their thinking, very creative. They all had their vision. And so we had a fourth architect in there. You know who he was? Hazim, exactly. So he was managing them. He was making sure that everybody came together. He kept talking about that this is a collaboration, not a competition. Hazrat Imam and Prince Amin were so much involved in this project, and it would become a real privilege, honor for all of us who were on this project, that we were meeting Hazrat Imam so often. And in addition to his knowledge about architecture and construction and all that, his style of leadership, Hussein, is incredible. He's a keen listener. He listens, he involves everybody, he engages everybody. You can't be in a meeting with him and warm the chair. You can't do it. You will engage somewhere. You might have to say one sentence, or 10 sentences, whatever, but everybody is involved because you are there for a reason. You bring some expertise, some knowledge, some whatever it is. So these meetings became a very enriching and very motivating, inspiring, and I can keep many adjectives to that. So we learned a lot.
So President Saab, when you look back at 10 years, what do you think this entire site, all three projects, what do you think it means for our community?
When people come here, they should feel very proud. They should be excited to say, oh my God. Once they enter, they see from outside, and then when they come inside, it's even more beautiful.
Right.
And when we talk to youth, and one of the things was, how do you also create for them the identity? They can say, that's who I belong to, or where I belong. Come, we can meet here, we can have interactions. So it's all about enhancement of the identity of the community, that we are now, and these are anchors. So we are here to stay. Nobody's going to build this kind of projects only to go away. So this is an indirect way to say, we are here, this is our place.
Well, this has been great, President Saab. Thank you so much for your time, and it was nice running into you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I wish you well in everything that you're doing, and I'd like to sit back and enjoy and relax this place. This is a very special place for me.
Absolutely, and thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, let's go take a look inside the center. You know, the amount of thought, effort, and struggle that went into the development of this site, it really gives me a different perspective. You know what? Let's dig a little deeper. Well, this is a nice surprise. I met Ahmed, tour guide extraordinaire.
Well, what a surprise. You're right. Hussein, it's been so long. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to see you. You know, we're celebrating 10 years of the Ismaili Centre Toronto, the museum, the park. Now, you've been a tour guide of this center since the beginning? And how many people have you seen? How many people have come through the doors taking tours of the Ismaili Centre Toronto?
Given tours to over 100,000 people already. And the numbers keep on going up because we're still doing that.
And where is everybody coming from? Just from like different nationalities, different countries? What's the makeup?
All over the world, actually. 111 countries. That's our stats so far. And people from all walks of life, anywhere from little kids to members of parliament, secretary of states, executives, and just people visiting from different parts of the world on a holiday. They'd like to drop in for a tour, and they hear about it from other people as well. So yeah, everyone's very, very excited about our tours, and they love our tours too.
Okay, so you've been here for over 10 years, like you described, and you know this place intimately, inside and out. What is your favorite place in the Ismaili Centre Toronto, what would it be?
Well, apart from the prayer hall, I would say, let me think, the social hall. Yes, I got to show you the social hall for sure.
Well, then let's go take a look at the social.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So this is our social hall. This is where we host all the primary major events at the center. And, this is where we actually actualize the vision of the center through the events that we host. And it's open to the wider public. So we get people from all walks of life coming in here because the events that we host are so varied in nature. The mandate is to build bridges with the wider community.
Right. So it's beyond just chai and cookie nights and sherbet that I normally attend. I understand. I got it. So what are some more examples that you have? So there's that. So Salam Suleiman, cultural events.
Right. And we bring in prominent speakers that come and talk on a variety of topics. So for example, we have a science and innovation series where we brought in astronauts to come in and talk, and physicists come in. We've done doctors who come in. We've also bring in journalists who, like Ali Belshri, right? So he's coming at least twice. We do town hall, we do doors open over here, we do citizenship ceremonies, mayor's panels, book launches, and weddings, of course, are very popular here. So yeah, people just love this space because it's so bright in here, and we get to meet all kinds of different people, and that's what it's all about.
But this was also the spot where the Prime Minister came here to celebrate Nowruz with us all. And I was here when they unveiled the Aga Khan Boulevard.
That's right. Yeah. It's a very special moment for all of us.
So tell me about this space.
This is my second favorite place. It's known as the Atrium Lounge. It is also known as a multi-faith lounge. So this is where we host family members from other faiths during prayer, after which they can join their family members if we're having any kind of social events happening at the center.
So this place also looks very familiar to me because this is where Peter Mansbridge, Sat Alban Hajian, is here-ish.
Yes, exactly in the spot where we're standing.
Welcome again to Canada, Your Highness.
Thank you very much.
This place, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
It's quite spectacular to look at. What do you hope will be accomplished inside these walls?
Well, these are fairly unique buildings around the world. They are meant to be ambassadorial buildings. That is, they seek to express not only what the community is today, but what it aspires to be. So they're buildings that try to look towards the future. They are also buildings that try to articulate external relations so that people can come into these buildings. We can have events here with non-Ismailis. So these buildings are built with a special purpose. They're not just places of faith, places of prayer.
Whether you've been to these spaces or not, when you do visit, I highly recommend taking a tour. That's the park, the museum, the Ismaili Centre Toronto. Wait a second, I think I know that guy. Here, come with me to the library. Raheem.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I see you here all the time. Do you work here?
I do, actually. I work here at the Ismaili Centre.
You actually work here?
This is my full-time job.
What do you do here?
Well, I am a step teacher, so I'm very fortunate that this is my office.
So we're celebrating 10 years of the park, the museum, the Ismaili Centre. As a member of the Jamaat, as a step community educator, what does that mean to you?
I've been working out of the Ismaili Centre since it opened, so I've seen such an evolution of how this space is used and who's coming through the space. And there's such a familiarity with the outside community now that it feels like we've just been part of the community for so long. And it's such a nice feeling when Jamaati members can interact with people in the community and they kind of just greet them, and it's become such an important part of the community. And I've seen the community rely on this space just for programming in the park, for special events that take place, and we love to welcome them in for our celebrations as well.
What's your favorite spot? The whole space, what is your favorite? What is your go-to spot?
I'm a little bit biased as a teacher. I love the education side of the building because I get to see my students just really getting their hands dirty, picking up a book, learning, sharing their ideas, and not having to worry about how loud they're being because, in some of the other spaces, we have to make sure we keep it down. Exactly, yeah.
I could be loud there?
You can be loud.
So I can hang out with you there, and I'm like, Raheem, I'm down. Okay, make some noise.
It shows that the students really are taking ownership of the space, they feel comfortable, and that they want to continue to come back and make it their own.
Great. Raheem, thanks so much, man. Good running into you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Okay, we're going to keep exploring.
Excellent. Enjoy your visit.
Let's go. Okay, so there's a pretty important meeting happening in the council chambers right now, but let's just go inside and see you in a couple minutes. Yeah, Hollywood. Sorry to bother. Just wondering if I get a couple of minutes to talk to you.
Okay, you can have a few minutes.
If Maulana Haji Imam was here today, because this was all of his vision, what would you say to him on the 10th anniversary of all three of these sites? What would you say?
I think I would say to Hazir Imam that we're very thankful to have an Ismaili Centre here in Toronto, and we're very thankful to have the museum here and have it at our access and at our fingertips, so we can come all the time for prayers, and we have a huge space to share with our community.
My favorite place would be the Aga Khan Museum, and I would take them there because so they can learn about different cultures and just have fun.
It makes me feel good because I pray for my family, and I pray for my sister, and I pray for my heart. I feel happy because I come with my family, and like my favorite thing that I do is pray. So I pray for my family to be healthy, and I want my sister to be happy.
Yeah.
That's enough questions. We got to get back to our meeting now.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Have a great meeting. Thank you so much for your time and yelling with everybody. Okay, Rosie. So this is the 10th anniversary of like the park, the center, the museum. What do you think? How often do you come? What has your experience been like here?
I love this place. It's amazing. I'm here almost every couple of weeks. Every time we're here, like we feel like we're so lucky. We're so fortunate to have this space.
It's the 10th anniversary of the Aga Khan Museum, the Ismaili Centre, and this beautiful park.
Yeah.
I just want to get your thoughts. You know, when you come to this space, how do you feel?
We were just like, wow.
How do you feel, viewers?
We just mesmerized by this architecture, and also like how everything like it's just like well designed and like integrated with the environment.
Have you guys been here before? You guys are...
Yeah.
You got married here.
Yeah.
What? Wait a sec. You got married here?
Yeah, it's a very special place for us.
Oh my God. Why did you choose this place to get married?
Oh, it's just, we actually grew up close by, and we've always thought it was very beautiful and very peaceful. So yeah, it just felt like the right spot to be at.
But so your initial thoughts? Why don't you tell me that? Just your initial thoughts, initial feeling.
Very peaceful. It's a very peaceful place. Very quiet.
How about you?
Beautiful.
You know, the reflective pools here in the garden are the perfect pathway to lead us into the Aga Khan Museum. Come, let's take a look. You know, the exhibits at the Aga Khan Museum, I mean, they never disappoint. You know what's back here? The Patrons Lounge. Come, let's see if it's open. Oh, Dr. Al-Khamis.
Hussein, I heard you were in the museum. Come in. So nice to see you.
You have a moment to chat?
Absolutely. Come in. Welcome.
Dr. Al-Khamis, this is the 10th anniversary of the Aga Khan Museum. You're the CEO of the Aga Khan Museum. When you look back at 10 years, what do you think has been the impact of the museum? How do you think we're doing in terms of the Aga Khan's vision of what this was supposed to be? Like, where do we stand?
I think after 10 years, we have a lot to be proud of. We've brought nearly 1 million visitors to the site. We have been educating tens of thousands of students here in Toronto, across Canada, and even across the world in Africa, South Asia. So the impact we've been having is incredible. And of course, all that with one cause, with one vision. His Highness's vision to bring Muslim and non-Muslim cultures together in empathy, understanding, learning, and peacemaking.
I guess what would be the different strategies or different ways the Aga Khan Museum can grow and do exactly what you just said?
Well, to start with, our collection. People are always confused about why did His Highness give a museum? We understand the hospitals, we understand the universities, we understand the schools, but what is it about a museum? But when you think about it, every single one of us, wherever we are, we collect. We have our own museums at home. Every single item in our homes speaks about us as individuals, as members of a family, a community, as global citizens. So in that respect, it's not such a strange thing. And our collection is the very engine of our storytelling. Every single object in our collection tells a story about connection, intercultural dialogue, collaboration, creativity, diversity, both within Muslim cultures and in their interconnectedness with other cultures. So that's our engine. But then we have our exhibitions, we have our education programs, we have our performing and living arts, all of which, in the context of Tawheed, are just different perspectives on the one unity. And that is a very different alternative approach and viewpoint from the Western-centric way of putting everything in different categories and distinct boxes, where they often then don't speak to each other.
What are some of your concerns when it comes to the way Islam is presented in this part of the world? And also, what is the museum doing about that?
The moment people meet each other and they get to know each other as people, it is much more difficult to hate somebody. So our work is all about making this place a place of welcome, a place of inclusivity, a place where everyone can walk through the door and feel they can and they want to learn with each other, from each other. And that's how everything in this museum works.
So looking back at the past 10 years of all the different exhibits and different programs that have happened here at the museum, can you talk about some of the most memorable moments?
Yes, and most of them are very tiny moments. We had an Iranian visitor, young lady, who had been here for the first time, and when she came to the Ibn Sina manuscripts in the gallery, she started crying. And the educator asked her, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And she said, "Let me tell you a story. I came to Calgary as a 7-year-old girl from Iran. I was one of the only brown people in my class. And I never felt that my country, my civilization, was addressed in school in any shape or form. So one day for a history project, I dressed up as Ibn Sina and I told his story. And today, to stand in front of a manuscript that was written only a few decades after his death is too much for me. It is the first time I have found myself in this country.
Of understanding of Islam and the civilizations. What are some things that we could do to address them?
I think each and every one of us are an ambassador for the cause. So I think the skill in it is actually to listen, to be genuinely interested in a fellow human being that is standing opposite you, start a conversation and figure out where the connecting points are. And then bring to that conversation all the spirit and the faith and the convictions and the guidance that make up your essence and your core. And I do believe that that really has incredible potential to make a difference.
What message would you like to convey to visitors and supporters of the museum as we celebrate 10 years?
You have a lot to be proud of. You have a lot ahead of you. We have a lot ahead of us. We have a lot of work to do, and I look forward to having you by our side. Each and every one of you is a feather in our wings. Without you, we can't fly. But with you, we can soar.
Thank you. You know, the Aga Khan Museum, the Aga Khan Park, and the Ismaili Centre Toronto have had a remarkable 10 years. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Here's some of the highlights. You know, we've heard from so many people talking about their vision of these institutions and their contributions over the past 10 years. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow took a few moments to share her thoughts with us.
10 years. Amazing. Congratulations to the entire team at the Aga Khan Museum and the Ismaili Centre. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. 10 years of incredible impact that you've made in Toronto. I thank you for the endless generosity and kindness that the Ismaili Muslim community continues to show year after year. Following the example of the Aga Khan, his generosity of spirit and compassion, you continue to give back to Toronto in so many ways. With this museum and spiritual center, you have given our city the gift of a place where people can achieve peace, harmony, and order through contemplation, reflection, and art. The peaceful Aga Khan Park, the thought-provoking exhibitions, and the tireless community work done through the Ismaili Centre reflects what makes our city so great. When we come together in a spirit of peace, when we embrace new ways of thinking and treat each other with love and compassion, amazing things can happen. Thank you for building bridges between different religions and cultures. You are helping to make Toronto a place where everyone belongs. I can't wait to see the role you will play in the decades to come. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Mayor Chow. Now, I don't know about you, but this entire day has helped me situate these buildings and this park in a larger context. I mean, this entire area is a confident ambassador of our faith. I mean, they embody the values of peace, kindness, generosity, and service. Before we go, here's a quote from Maulana Haji Imam. Thank you, and Ya Ali Madad.
I hope you will feel, as I do, that you have been part of a distinctive observance, celebrating an effort which is impressive in scale, in aesthetic ambition, and in its cultural inspiration, contributing in the best way possible to Canada's pluralism. As we look ahead, we can anticipate with some confidence that the Wynford Drive project will be a beautiful part of the future, a proud gift from our generation to future generations, even as it celebrates so fittingly what past generations have given to us. Thank you very much.